Hi everyone, I'm Cassidy. Welcome to my first ever photography YouTube video. I'm so excited to start a channel about my photography experience. So let's get started on learning about how you can become a better photographer. So today I'm going to share with you a few tips for shooting your first wedding. If you're watching this video, that probably means that you've booked your first wedding and you have no idea where to go from there. I have a few tips that are going to help you to be the most successful that you can on your first wedding day. My first tip for you is to be prepared. Before you shoot a wedding day, there's so much you need to know beforehand. One of the ways that you can be prepared for the wedding day is to communicate with the bride before the wedding. And these are just a few of the things that you should figure out from your bride. What time you're going to show up, what time you leave, what is the family shot list, what's the general timeline for the day, where will you be taking the bridal party photos, where are you taking the bride and groom photos, is there a first look, are there any specific photos that your client wants that they haven't told you about? And lastly, I always suggest that you ask the bride and groom if they're comfortable if you stand in the middle of the aisle for part of the ceremony. If you're like me, I like to shoot on a 35mm, so that means I really need to be up close and personal. If your couple isn't comfortable with you standing in the aisle, make sure you bring a long focal length lens. When it comes to timelines, one of the most important things is to make sure that you have a photo timeline constructed beforehand. Your bride doesn't always have to construct this timeline. This is something that you should construct by yourself and send to the bride later for approval. This timeline is a photo timeline, so it outlines everything that you need to shoot throughout the day. Mine is really specific, and I even outline where my second shooter needs to be and at what times. The second way that you can be prepared is by packing your bag effectively. There's so many good ways to pack your bag and there's so many things that you need, but I'm going to tell you a few of the things that I always bring with me on a wedding day. Make sure you have backups of SD cards, lenses, even camera bodies. I know it seems kind of silly to have an extra camera body, or it's probably really expensive. But if something happens to your camera body on the day of, you want to make sure that you're prepared to continue to shoot the wedding even though your gear is malfunctioning. Backups are super important, and you should be shooting dual card slot if possible. That means in your camera you have two spots to keep cards and you can shoot on both cards at the same time. If something happens to one of the cards in your camera, you automatically have a backup and you won't lose all the photos that you took during the day. Something else that's super important that I love to bring is snacks and water. This depends on whatever you like to eat, just something quick, something that you can snack on just in case you get hungry or start to feel a little bit lightheaded. It's going to be a long day, so make sure you're hydrated. Always wear comfortable shoes. You're going to be on your feet all day long, and it's super important that you're not getting blisters or worrying about if you're going to trip over your heels walking backwards down the aisle. Lastly, make sure you wear a comfortable and functional outfit. For me, this looks like a jumper with pockets and usually sleeveless because I'll get super hot when I'm running around all day. Don't be afraid to rent lenses if you need them. I know on my first wedding day, I wanted to shoot all of these super nice prime lenses, but I didn't have access to them. My second tip for shooting your first wedding day is to shoot, and never stop shooting. It's so important that you capture every moment during the day, and on your first wedding day, it probably is a little intimidating having to capture so many photos at once. I know personally, I always like to have more photos rather than not enough, just in case if someone blinks, if your bride is asking for a specific photo, you might have it, or if for some reason random photos get deleted, you'll have extra files. This is also super helpful for when you're editing. You'll have lots of options to choose from. When you're shooting, always make sure to check your camera after a few shots to make sure your exposure is right and your subjects are in focus. Don't just focus on the couple, but make sure you get candid photos of family members, friends, and other people at the wedding. These are super important photos for the bride and groom to have because they don't always get to see those moments as they're happening. Make sure you switch between landscape and portrait to give yourself variety and to give the bride and groom options when you deliver their final gallery. When you're capturing photos, make sure you get details of all the small things. Some of these things include flowers, shoes, the bride's dress, jewelry, ties, boutonnieres. It's super important to get photos of the vendors and the things that they have provided for the wedding so you can add it to your portfolio and connect with local vendors. Vendor relationships are really awesome to have, and this really helps with getting more clients in the future. When you're shooting, always boost up your bride and groom. When you're alone with them for bride and groom portraits, this can be an intimidating time for the couple. Make sure you let them know what they're doing well, and this really helps to ease any nerves that they might have. The more comfortable they are in the photos, the better your photos will turn out. When you're shooting the bride and groom photos, make sure you use lots of poses. This can be super intimidating when you haven't ever posed anyone before. So you can keep a sticky note on the back of your camera or a list in your phone. Just make sure you're spending more time looking at the couple and interacting with them than referring to your shot list. My last tip for you is to be confident. This is like the most important tip out of anything I could tell you. If there's anything I could tell myself when I first started photography, is to stop doubting myself and just believe in my ability as a photographer. Obviously, I'm not perfect right when I start out, and I'm not perfect right now, but your ability is more than a lot of people, and if you've been hired to shoot a wedding, that says something about your ability already. Don't forget that you set the mood for the day. If you're stressed and worried, chances are your bride and groom are also going to feel stressed and worried. If you're super comfortable and confident in yourself, your bride and groom are going to feel even more at ease during the day, and this is going to allow your photos to look just more natural and so much better than a stressed and worried couple. Lastly, have tons of fun. Weddings are a blast to shoot. They're so much fun, and you get to just truly express yourself as an artist. Have fun with it, don't take yourself too seriously, and be confident. Thanks for watching. I hope you liked this video. If you did, please like and subscribe to my channel. I'm going to be posting so many more wedding photography and photography tips to my channel, so I hope that you can find some of these videos useful. Don't forget to check me out on Instagram to see more of my recent work and latest weddings. Have a good day, everyone.